Thank you very much, Ms. Lori, for accepting our invitation for the interview.
I'm honored that you asked me.
Okay. Give us a brief introduction of yourself.
Well, my name is Lori Heninger, and I'm the director of the Interagency Network for Education and Emergencies. I'm based in New York City, and INEE is a network of about 8,000 people in over 170 countries, and all of those people are committed to ensuring that people in general, from birth to death, have access to education during times of conflict or natural hazard.
Okay, thank you very much. I was about to ask about your network.
I'm sorry.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, you saved my time. Wow. Okay, tell me, what has driven you to work in education and emergency, particularly, and generally in social science?
Very personally, I'm an American, and I come from the working class in the United States. My father didn't graduate from high school, from secondary school. My mother was the first person of her generation to graduate from secondary school. And I was able to get a PhD.
Wonderful.
And so what that means to me is that I know firsthand what education can do, because I have lived it, from my father working the night shift in a factory for his whole life, to me being able to be the director of this amazing international network. And it's education that made that difference. So I've always been interested in humanitarian and have done humanitarian work, doing assessments in refugee camps and situations like that. And I'm a teacher by training. I taught art. So education in emergencies was a way for me to combine my life story and my passions for art, humanitarian, education, and then also for the network, because INEE is a network and we are bottom up. We don't tell people what to do, we don't make policy. What we do is listen to what the members say the needs are, and then we help to support the members to be able to do their work, because they're the experts. So.
Okay, that's a great job you're doing. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, you say that you don't make policies, but I would ask my question differently. From your own experience as a specialist in this field, how do you address education in emergencies, like particularly in war zone or war conflicts? How do you address that problem in that particular area, like what we are facing currently? Yeah.
Great. It's a great question, and you have to address education in emergencies in a contextualized manner. So you can't say, okay, this works and we're going to use it everywhere. You have to say, we think this works, or we have some evidence that this works, but this has to be applied in an emergency in Indonesia, or during Hurricane Katrina in the United States, or in Afghanistan, or in Colombia, and the INEE members have developed a document called the Minimum Standards for Education, Preparedness, Response, Recovery. And that document was developed by over 3,500 INEE members. And it's not a how to do education in emergencies, but it's a set of sort of foundational principles upon which education in emergencies can be developed. So one of the standards is community participation. Another is analysis. Another is teaching and learning. And it's a document that helps people think about what does teaching and learning mean in the context of the tsunami in Sri Lanka. What does it mean when you're thinking about it, bringing education back? What does teaching and learning mean? Sort of, who are the learners? Are the teachers trained? How are they trained? What are the needs? So we never say, this is how you do it. The book was developed to really help people think about how to do it.
So you have like a list of countries, and you have some kind of recommended activities that could be applied, that would probably work in different areas.
It's more like we take the standards and either through people in country or through a consultant or through one of the secretariat, we work with people on the ground so that people on the ground say, okay, this standard for teaching and learning, what does it mean for us in this part of, I'm using Sri Lanka as an example, in this part of Sri Lanka, or what does it mean for, what does community participation mean in this part of Somalia? How do we engage the community around education? So it's context specific. And although we do have some good practice guides, I would never say that those are the be-all and the end-all. It's really about taking the standards to a specific place and saying to the people there, what does this mean for you? And how could you use these to make sure that you are doing it in your way?
That's wonderful. I'm really surprised, and I think you hit the bullseye, because this is what I have observed in Afghanistan. Usually it happens, people back in New York, they come in a closed office on the desk and they come up with a policy without having proper knowledge of the culture, and they just send these things. And when I just have a chance to get to know these internationals, and I just listen to them, because I know both their ideas and my own culture, and I think, well, this is not going to work. So the idea you have, I think I would encourage you to keep with this, and I think it would really help people in a larger way, because it's just not only about one side. You you just don't try, you impose your policy. I think it's good to have the input from the culture or the region that you're having. It's a wonderful job you're doing.
I'm so glad that you think so. It's like no one person can know everything. It's ridiculous to think that. And so we have to see, sort of like you and I are sitting here, we have to see where, like, what I know and what you know. And we have to put it down here, and we have to see what makes sense working together. And I know things, you know things. There's so much I don't know, and there's so much that you don't know, but figuring it out, like we can figure it out together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wonderful. Okay, this maybe, I'm glad to know that you have also experienced, as you give as example of your father, the situations in which have driven you into this field. So, like for me or for my other fellow colleagues or countrymen, is there any easy way that you would recommend for us which does not require special skill or education, so that we can take that as a lesson and be active participants in our community to work for education in emergencies? One thing that you think we should keep in mind?
You know a lot more than you think you know. That's one thing I would say that is not, I want you to ask me the question again, because I'm not sure that I'm really grasping what you want to, go ahead.
Okay, let it put me this way. how do you advise people who are living in emergencies? How do you motivate them to work, even though they are people who are in emergencies? What do you think their role should be?
Oh, gotcha. I think that people in emergency situations know the answers. I do. When I was doing assessments of education in the refugee camps in Chad, early on in the Darfur situation, I went into camps and people had already set up schools. They had already set up education. People in the community, the refugees, and what they said was that the silver lining in the dark cloud of the situation in Darfur was that people were together, like large groups of people were together for the first time, and they could actually get education for their children, especially girls. I think that people are resilient and they're ready to go, even in emergency situations. And I think that we need to rely more on people in the community in order to, because they've been doing it already. You know what I mean? Like, people in emergency situations, in some places there hasn't been education, but in a lot of places there has. And if we go in thinking that we have to fix everything, then we're really mistaken. And there's a lot of indigenous knowledge and action that, yeah, that's already there.